Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Life Conversations with a Twist. I am and I say this every episode, how excited I am to have my guests on. But I have Tara Polley here. You and I just met in person this weekend.
You did. Yeah.
We were connected through some mutual friend, and I love a little shout out to Kara. She's always, making the connections and getting people in the spaces with the right people, and that's what I truly love about her and our community and our connect, like in our little area that we live in. So, I'm just excited to have you. So, thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. And I totally agree about Kara. She's so good at connecting people. It's something you're really good at as well. And I think, there's like a 1 degree of separation here in Sonoma County. So it's really nice when you get to reach out and get those vibes.
Well, and what I love so much is it's like somebody is like, you need to meet this person because they know like the energy and the magic that's going to happen. And that literally happened this weekend. We got together and I didn't realize like how long we were there. I could have spent like more hours with you and I didn't want to leave.
I totally agree. It was so much fun. It's so funny. We went to this, event, and then we're sitting in the corner at a table just talking to each other the whole time. We didn't even realize like we missed out on the majority of the event.
There's like music and bands and like hundreds of people with like food trucks. And we're like, oh my gosh, we didn't even know this was here.
I
Next time.
will say though, a shout out to Parliament because they put on this event and the churros with the ice cream, like and the caramel, it was incredible.
It
It
was
was
like back in total like a session for me when I got home. I was like, "Mom, mom, mom, mom," and then I didn't eat them all and I ate the rest last night.
yeah, food coma. It was amazing.
It was so fun. So tell everyone a little bit about who you are, what you do. You have lots of fun projects in the works, and I can't wait to dive in. But a little bit about who you are, and then we'll start. We'll take it back to little Tara and how you got here, and we'll go into all the things.
Okay, well, I am a local Sonoma County girl. I got here when I was 12 years old. So prior to that, my mom would open up a map and put her finger down. We would move wherever her finger landed. So I've lived all over the United States. I'll tell you more about that. But once I got here when I was 12, we settled in. I mean, who would want to leave Sonoma County, right? So
Mhm.
we really settled in. Went to high school here, had children, got married, did the whole family life. I have 4 children. I now have 4 grown children and 8 grand. I'm sorry, 4 children and 8 grandchildren. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I lose track myself. So yeah, raised a family here, deeply rooted in the community. I sell real estate. I've been selling real estate for 25 years. And then 2 years ago, I was selected to be a host for American Dream TV, which is a national Emmy nominated television show. And we feature our community. So they tap, real estate agents. We do know our communities best usually. And I'm able to feature small businesses and local events and real estate and all the things that I already love that just gets a national platform now. It's on
Oh,
streaming platforms, it's on HGTV and Travel Channel. So it's been a really amazing opportunity.
I straight went to your like social media the other day. I was like stalking you and seeing all the like cool people you've interviewed in our community. And I was like, I know them. Oh, I love them.
I know it has been really cool. I mean, sometimes I just focus on, one person or one place. My very first segment I ever did, I featured my friend Gray Rollin at Belly Left Coast Kitchen and Tap Room in downtown Santa Rosa. And I specifically went to him because he's a friend of mine. He's been on, the chef shows, Top Chef, all that kind of stuff. And he had done TV. And so I was so freaked out by the whole situation. It was my first time on TV. And honestly, when I accepted the role, I was terrified. And that's kind of why I did it because I thought, you know what, I'm super uncomfortable. I don't even like my picture taken. And so I'm going to do it because that's the way you grow, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But going to Gray and saying, hey, listen, will you do this with me? I don't know what I'm doing. Please help. And he was so amazing. And since then, yeah, we've had so many great people in the community. Absolutely. We've done country music concerts. We did Country Summer last summer. I just did TEDx, which was really fun. We featured the Mill District in Healdsburg, Matheson, Quell and Condor, Gallery Lulo, Noble Folk. I mean, it's just been like a really, really great platform to be able to showcase everybody who's just amazing in our community.
And for me, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool because this is something I've always wanted to do. Is just like be able to interview all the cool things that are happening here. So I was like, again, I was like, I had to see all the people you interviewed. And then my favorite one was your bloopers one. I was like dying.
You know what's so funny? I've only posted like two blooper reels, and out of all the things I post, the bloopers are always the ones that people love, right? Like it shows our human side.
Mhm.
It shows that we're not perfect. Like perfection is not the goal.
Mhm.
We all are imperfect, and being able to see the bloopers and the behind the scenes stuff, it takes away from like the glamorous side of things, but it also just shows that we're human.
Yeah, and that we don't have it. We can never always do it right.
Yeah, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like failing is a win. I say that all the time. Like, every time you fail at something, you are learning and you're growing. And so that's a win.
So true. Okay, so take us back. You had mentioned that you grew up with your mom and you like traveled all over the place and this was like home. What did that look like for you? And one of the I want you to tell the story because I know you're going to bring out this little nugget that was like one of those things when I met you that was like, yes.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I don't remember what I said.
It'll come. I think you'll come when you'll tell the story.
Okay. Well, yeah, I had a single mom. She was amazing. We were, best friends. But she was, it was the 1970s when I was born. And so she was a little gypsy and she just loved to open up a map and put her finger down and we would move wherever her finger landed. And when you first get to a new town, you have to figure it out. And so we would sleep in the car sometimes and until we found a place to live and until she found a job. And it really gave me empathy for people in the homeless community and people who struggle financially. And so that's always been something that has been close to my heart that I've tried to stay involved in with nonprofits and things like that. But that being said, the resilience you kind of build in a situation like that, you're constantly starting over, you're constantly meeting new friends, you're constantly figuring out how to adapt and fit in and all of it. So I honestly think that experience for me was so incredibly valuable. It'd be really easy to look at that as a negative, but I see it as a positive because it's just helped shape who I am. And now, you know, I know that I could live very frugally. I've done it, been there, done that. I've also done quite well for myself in real estate. I started out trying to just stay home with my kids and spend time with my kids when they were little, and that's why I got into real estate. But it's been a huge blessing in my life. And so being able to experience both spectrums, it's made my perspective one of gratitude.
And that was the little nugget that I wanted you.
Oh, good.
I was like, I know it's going to come natural because that was one of the things that I was like, yeah, you're so right. Like when you've been through it all, you're like anything, throw anything at me. I got it. Like I
Yeah.
think I can handle this.
Pretty much. I mean, especially when you have kids and you're a mom, you never want your kids to go through anything that is negative, right? We try so hard to make their life perfect, and especially in the ways that our life was maybe not perfect. We don't want them to have to experience those same things. So, from that perspective, I always worked really hard and made sure that they had what they needed. But deep inside of me, I know that there's nothing that you can throw at me that's going to make me like not be okay because
Hmm.
I've been through all of it.
Hmm. So you got married. You had four children that
Yep.
you raised.
Yep.
And then that was what sparked real estate. You just kind of like chatted about that for a second about like that was the direction. What were you doing before getting into real estate and kind of like what was that moment where you're like, okay, I need to do something different?
Yeah, I mean, again, kind of going back to the nonprofit work, that's what I was doing prior to that, usually in, nonprofits that you're dealing with people who are experiencing homelessness or mental health issues or things of that nature. And so I was working with nonprofits in a lot of different ways, whether it was human resources or, being on the board of directors or whatever the case may be. And, we just would try to get with the kids and get out of the house on the weekends. And we would go to open houses. Like that was what we thought was fun. And it was our way of getting out of the house. And so in doing that, I realized that I think a nugget of that actually also comes from the fact that, we did experience homelessness sometimes. And so I do have this little thing in me. I will drive by homes, especially places like when you go to San Francisco and you're driving down the marina and all those beautiful houses are like facing the water and you think, God, I wish I knew what that looked like on the inside, right? I just had this curiosity about what these homes looked like. And so I started to kind of really gravitate toward like maybe a real estate license. Maybe that's what I should do. And I'm old. So at the time, I saw an ad in the paper and the ad said, get your real estate license. And I thought, oh, that's an interesting idea. And I did. And I went into it thinking, I'll be able to make my own schedule, spend so much time with the kids. And little did I know that that's not how real estate works. But I had a partner at the time who was, super supportive. So it worked out. And especially in the first couple of years when things are really hard and you're trying to establish yourself, it was great. My ex-husband, my husband at the time, he was really, really a great partner through that.
I love that. I don't know why I had this thought, but I did. You know how, there's all these reality TVs about these, the real
Oh, like the selling sunsets and
selling
the
sunset, this is
yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
these beautiful homes, and you watch them like sell them and like cha-ching, cha-ching, and I just think like that's probably has changed a lot of people's perspective of like what a realtor is about. Can you speak on that a little bit, or like what are your thoughts around that?
Yeah. Oof. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to get on a soapbox. I've only been doing this for 25 years, but I actually think, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, I get it. Real estate is entertainment. That's why I got into real estate in the first place. And it really has elevated the industry in terms of, now we have these beautiful photos that we do and these walkthrough video tours and things like that. And I think that really um, helps the consumer ultimately, right? To have that kind of information available to them. We didn't used to do that. I mean, I got into real estate when it was like a Thomas Brothers guide and a disposable camera, right? Like that's how old I am. But on the other hand, it does get a little frustrating to watch those shows because people think, oh, we're so overpaid. All we do is we just go to lunch with someone and we argue with them and then we sell the house and we just made $20,000. Like it's not reality shows are not reality. It's actually one of the things I really love about my show, The American Dream, because we call it, we say it's not a reality show, it's a real show
Mhm.
because it's real people and it's real stories and it's real estate. And so the reality shows, the drama, I'm not fighting with my coworkers like that. I'm not selling a house at lunch, and making a $20 million commission. It's a little silly, but it's fun to watch.
Well, and then they like bring in like their, multi-million dollar customers, and you're like, no, it's not that easy to find.
Right. Yeah, right. I was just walking down the street and somebody was like, I want you to list my house.
I just remember you saying like how much work, like people have probably an image around the realtors and what you guys do, but it's not, it's one, there's so many of you. I mean, I think about all the
Yeah.
networking events and all the people that I know that are realtors, and I know that it's not an easy industry to be in, to like find clients, to find loyal clients. You had a perfect example of that, with a friend, but talk about like what that looks like as like far as like client retention and finding clients and
What a great question. Yeah, I think that ultimately, in my opinion, I never think of real estate as being a sales job, right? I'm not prospecting for clients. I mean, I guess there's an aspect of that, right? But for me, it's about relationships. That's
Mhm.
what it comes down to, right? So people who get to know you, they like you, they trust you, they want you to help them. I mean, this is a huge transaction in most people's lives. A lot of people don't do it that often, once, twice, maybe in their lifetime. So I take it really seriously. And it's something that for me and my industry, I just want to make sure that we're always, always showing up for our clients. And when you can show people that, you don't have to like cold call and door knock and, do all these crazy things that salespeople do. And there are plenty of people who do that, but you're right. Everybody knows 500 realtors, right?
Mhm.
So it has to come down to the relationship. And I think being able to offer something other people aren't offering, like in my case, I've really leaned into the television show because it does feature our community and it does ultimately get my clients more exposure for their home. Even if their house isn't on the show, my role on the show is getting more exposure for all of my listings. So I think, when you pair the relationship with the ability that you have to get them, everybody wants the most money for their house, as they should, right? And so if you can do that by getting them more exposure, then you're winning. And so yeah, finding the people who actually care about the outcome is key, I think, rather than just trying to make a buck and, make the next sale.
I have a very good friend who's the one who sold my house, Amy Bridges. I don't know if you've met her through your,
She sounds
she's
really familiar. I probably do
she's in
know.
Petaluma and she has a podcast too. And she reminds me a lot of you as far as like being a realtor and investing in the community because she has this podcast and she brings on small businesses to talk about their business, to bring exposure. She's very much community like minded. And then she like sends the cutest freaking gifts. Even I'm like, I'm not, I already sold my house. And she like always touches base with me and she sends me cute little like Valentine, so it's like, I think it's those special moments that makes a person like want to trust and continue to give business to, which is part of what my consulting business is,
Yeah.
bringing that awareness for all businesses is that growing relationships and nurturing them and not making it sales and being authentic is so important.
Yeah, I mean, after 25 years in the business, I've had some of my clients come back over and over again. And I'm not going to lie, like I just had two of my clients, I really consider them friends. They moved out of state. I'm going to cry right now. I literally cried when they left because I was like, I'm losing a friend. And that's the worst part of my job is that I have to help my favorite people move away. And that's the worst part, right? So yeah, it can't just be about one transaction, and it's crazy because people do think we make so much money, right? We
Mhm.
don't make money unless the house closes. And I could actually put something on the market. I could invest all the money into marketing that property. We can get it into contract, and then it could all fall apart. And I've made zero money and I've put money into the marketing. And now I have to go back and start at square one. And I'm doing basically the same job twice, but I'm only getting paid for it once, right? So I don't think that people always think about everything that a realtor does, that they think we make so much money, and sometimes we do. I'm not going to lie, sometimes we do, but we earn that money and we
Mhm.
don't get paid unless we deliver the result, right? We're not getting paid unless we close the escrow for you.
Mhm.
So, it's always interesting to me when people have an issue with that.
Well, and I just think about all the times like coming to the house for all the different inspections and then a walkthrough and then, somebody wants to like at the drop of a dime come see your house and oh my, it was like literally the most stressful like 4 months of my life. No, it was probably like a 2 month process. It sold pretty quickly, but oh my God, it was so much work as someone trying to sell it. I was like,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And so I'm actually licensed in two states. I don't know if we talked about this, but
Oh,
I'm licensed in California and also in North Carolina. So I have a team in North Carolina. We represent the Raleigh Triangle.
mm,
And yeah, it's funny because it is. There's a ton of stuff that goes into that. And sometimes it takes a week to sell your house. Sometimes it takes a year to sell your house. It just depends on the market and all the factors that are involved in that. But yeah, there's a lot that goes into it for sure.
yeah. So I have a major respect for you guys. So
Well, thank you. I
yeah.
appreciate that. We don't always hear that, so that's kind of nice to hear.
It's a lot of work. It seems like a
Yeah.
lot of work. Yeah.
I mean, I think one of the biggest things that I think about a lot is that when I got into real estate, I was really lucky because I had a broker who taught me how to how to make sure that I'm using integrity, that I'm leading with integrity, right? And
Mhm.
so that's not something like there are a lot of real estate agents out there that are brand new, they just got their license, and getting your license and practicing real estate are two very different things. And if you don't have a good mentor, or you don't have a coach, or you don't have someone that's kind of teaching you how to run a business and not just sell real estate. Some of these brokers, they'll just turn these brand new agents out into the streets with their license and they're figuring out how to write a contract. They really don't know what they're doing. And that was actually why I was mentioning North Carolina as well, because in California, we fill out all of our contracts. We're doing a lot of the legal work involved in selling a home. We're making sure that you don't get sued, right? Like there's all of this stuff that goes into it. In North Carolina, you sell the house, you write the contract, but then the attorneys take over. So it's a
Mm.
different kind of thing. But I would really like to see some of the brokers out there just helping their agents more, some of the newer agents.
I love that. How did the American Dream, like, okay, you kind of mentioned like this project came on onto your lap. How did that even evolve? And I can't wait to like dive more into to that world.
Yeah, for sure. So that was really fun, actually. So obviously, again, realtors, we know our communities. And so they were looking for people in the area, and somebody referred them to me. I met with the executive producer. He explained what the show was. They offered me the role. And then I had to make a decision about, whether or not I was going to do it. And it did take me a minute because truthfully, I've actually been approached about a couple of other like reality shows, and I've already told you how I feel about reality shows. So I just didn't know if I wanted to do it, and I just decided to take the leap. And it has been the biggest blessing in my life ever. I think there are moments in your life where you sit at a crossroads and taking a road can just change everything, right? That you just in ways that you didn't expect. And this did that for me.
I love that. Tell everyone about the project you're leaving for tomorrow to do, which I think is such a cool thing.
Yeah. So,
Are you allowed to talk about it? I'm like,
yeah,
if
I
this,
can talk
okay,
about
okay,
it.
okay,
I'm
okay.
actually really excited because this whole morning, I've been working on it and I just kind of nailed everybody down. So I have a pretty clear picture of what we're going to do. So it started out as a project where hosts from around the country, there's one in LA, one in Pasadena, one in Palm Springs, one in Arizona, and then myself. We are all coming together down in LA, and we're going to do a 30-minute commercial-free show around the LA fires. I mean, here in Santa Rosa, we've experienced that. We know exactly what that looks like and
Mhm.
what the recovery looks like. And we want to offer people in LA right now hope, right? They're in
Mhm.
this like transitional phase of like just grasping what's happened,
Mhm.
and the shock is starting to wear off a little bit. And so they're trying to figure out what the next steps are. And so we're coming together as television hosts. We're going to cover their stories and tell people what it was like for them. We're doing it from an aspect of what it's like to lose your home and what that looks like. Maybe, one of them lost a business. We'll talk about that. We're covering first responders and what their experience was. And my segment, which I'm really excited about, is about pets and reuniting them with their owners if they got separated during the fires. So a good friend of mine is country singer Tyler Rich. He's got a new tour, he's got a new album, and he's agreed to be part of my segment. So I'm super excited about this because Tyler does this thing called Rich's Rescues, where when he's on tour, he will stop at shelters and bring attention to adoption and getting pets back with their families. So he's going to help me in a part of the segment. And then the other part is firefighter Brent Pescua, who was part of this viral story between Casey and Oreo the dog, who got separated during the fires. And Brent was the firefighter that got him back into his neighborhood, when they were not letting people in, and he was able to reunify with his dogs. So that's something I'm super excited about. I can't wait to cover the story and to be able to, help them get their voices out into the world.
Oh my God, so good. I started following Tyler and like he just keeps showing up in my feed and I was like, oh my God, he's so cute.
He's like the nicest person in the world. He's just kind, and so is his wife, and they're just amazing people.
I love that so much. One thing that I didn't realize, everyone's like, oh, oh, she, is on TV and does all this, but you do a lot of the work. Like you had just said, you have to like line up the camera people, you have to write the script, you have to do all that work. Talk about like what that process looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, double-edged sword, right? Like
Yeah.
amazing opportunity, but a lot of work. I'm the content creator basically. And so because I know my community, because I, get to figure out who should be featured and all of that. And ultimately it's up to the producers. I don't always get the last say, but I do get to kind of pitch them the people that we want on. But it is up to me to line up the guests and storyboard and figure out what is the story we're telling, because it's not just about putting people on. This is how
Mhm.
that works. Like you get somebody on the show, it's like there's a story there and you have to figure out how to tell that story in a way that really does them justice. So figuring all that out in advance can be a little challenging, but it's super fun. It's the creative side of what I'm doing right now. And sometimes contracts and, real estate stuff is not super exciting. So this is nice.
This is fun.
Yeah.
Um, I do have to say, when we first chatted, we were talking about like social media and content creation, right? It's like this daunting project, especially people with who are entrepreneurs. They feel like it's the one area of their business that they're lacking in because it is a lot of work. But you are like just nailing it. Like you have, but you said you like, I had to embrace TikTok. I had to embrace like doing stories and, all the things. Can you talk a little bit about like social media, content creation, like how that's kind of shaped your business or like some of the things that you've learned through the process?
Yeah. Again, it's kind of one of those things that's fun for me. I
Mhm.
see it as being really creative, and especially, being a little bit older, having to learn all these different platforms has been a challenge, but it's also been really fun, especially TikTok in particular. I was like, oh my God, I do not want to learn another social media platform. Are you kidding me? But it's got so many like cool editing tools in it. And then once I started to get into it, I really realized that each of these platforms has its own personality, right? Like to me, Instagram is the glossy version of everything. It's the magazine version where you get to post the like cool kind of sizzle reels and the stories and the, behind the scenes and all that stuff. Whereas TikTok is very raw. Like the Gen Zs that's really started TikTok and dominate TikTok, they don't want the influencer. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for you laying in bed with no makeup, talking about your day. You know what I mean? They want the rawness and the realness and the authenticity. And I think that's really cool. I actually give them a lot of credit for that. Um, so I love that. And then Facebook is like your mom and your aunt who are telling you how great you're doing and your neighbors like, sharing their recipe or whatever. Like it's so much more of like family community, I guess, but older.
It's
Like your
so true.
grandma. Yeah, your grandma's sharing the minion memes and so funny. But yeah, no, it's been fun to get to know each of these platforms and then like curate the content for that.
You very much inspired me this weekend about embracing that. I did some stories this morning, so thank you.
I saw that. They were very
Thank
good.
you. I mean, I used to do them all the time, and people were like, "We miss seeing you because you're so inspiring," and it's just rattling off whatever is on my head, but. So I'm trying to embrace it a little bit more, but you have so many great ideas. I know you're like we're just gonna take these videos and you like click on this and it like create and I'm like, oh my God, there is. So I think that's the thing too, is that if you can find time, which we all know we do because we're scrolling and scrolling on everybody else's stories and everyone else's, like take the time and learn. There's so many like cool features out there that make it a lot easier. I need to do that though, but
I think of it as playing,
yeah.
right? You're just playing with it. Like, what does it do when I click on this? And what happens when I post that? And, like, oh, I got 2 views on that. I guess people aren't that interested in that. But this one really took off. So, okay, people are more interested. Like, it's just playing and
Mhm.
figuring it out. It's really interesting. I think it's super fun.
It's interesting because when I look back at, how especially in Instagram, you can go back and it'll tell you like your top post or whatever. Everyone loves when I post about my husband. Like if it's like me and like it's a picture of me and him or it's
Okay.
very interesting.
Oh, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I did see I was looking at your stuff too, and I saw some pictures of you and your husband. I was
Yeah. He's definitely the content creator.
like, okay.
That's
Well,
why I'm like, can you just do it for me? Because he like, but it takes him a long time. Like he's a
I,
perfectionist. So it very much takes him a long time, but he definitely has the eye for it, especially like filming and taking videos and things.
Well, and I think, what's happened over the years with social media, I think, is especially since COVID, right? People really crave the realness and the rawness and the authenticity. I think that's why TikTok took off so much. And before COVID, you could get away with a lot of, like I work with Sotheby's International Realty. They are a stellar corporation, but they're a corporation, right?
Hmm.
So, as far as being represented in real estate, the connections are there. Obviously, it's representing luxury, all these things, and that's in your experience, not just the price point. But I don't feel like people connect with that kind of thing anymore. They
Hmm.
don't want to hear from a corporation. They want to know who you are. Like, what is your dog's name? What do your kids like to do with you on the weekends? Who are you? Like, what do you like? For me, you can call it a brand if you want, but it's like who I am as a person. Everybody knows I'm a realtor. Everybody knows I'm a mom. But like, you'll notice in my content, like I'm usually at a country concert or I am, doing something that has to do with hockey or football. I love sports. I love watching sports. I went to the Super Bowl with the show, which was really
I
cool.
saw that too. I was like, oh,
So amazing, right? Such great opportunities. I love my dog. It's all those things that make you you. That's what people want to see. And so social media is just like such a cool way to share that with other people. And then they get to know you without having to take time away from their families to go grab a beer, you know?
That's so true. But I do like it. It was so funny because we met again and then we were near the end and I'm like, oh my God, we didn't even take a single picture. We didn't take anything for social media. So you were really good at it, like really quick, like at the end. But that's the thing I struggle with so much, especially when I'm having a meeting with someone it's like I'm so present and I'm so connected that sometimes it's hard to take the content.
Yeah.
But it's like if you can just snap a couple photos before or after, just showing people like, ooh, where is she today? Or what cocktail is she drinking today? That everyone always wants to know that in my life. And so just like trying to remember to document that is always like my hardest thing.
Yeah, I can totally relate with that. And there's a fine line, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want to be that person that's like constantly got the phone out. Like here's, like you do want to be in the moment. You want to be experiencing everything. But it's funny that you say that about the cocktail because right before Tyler's show the other day, I went with a girlfriend. We were in San Jose at Club Rodeo. We went and got sushi. And I'm telling you, this garlic roll was amazing that we got at this sushi place. I've never had anything like it. And I took a 3-second video of the garlic roll. I never post food. I just feel like it's so cliche. But I posted the garlic roll, and I am telling you, I have like the likes on that one story are blowing my mind a little bit. People do. They like to see the food. They like to see the cocktails. It's hilarious to me.
I have so many food and cocktail photos in my phone. It's ridiculous. Which I'm like, I should post them because, and it's representing everybody in our industry, like in our community, our restaurants and, our wine partners and things like that. But yeah, you inspired me to be more diligent about doing that.
Good. I mean, I think the key is to like keep it short, right?
Yeah.
I do 3-second videos of a couple of things, and then I go right into TikTok and I use that little auto cut feature, which will make it look way cooler than I could. So, just that one little tip. Just take a couple 3-second videos, scan the room, scan whatever you're doing, and then hit auto cut in those apps because it will create a video for you that looks really neat.
So funny. Okay, I have a question for you. So, through real estate, through, being on television, what kind of advice or like what are the things that you've learned through this process that would inspire others either to lean into something that, they're inspired to do or lean into that goal or that thing that's been on their heart to go do?
Yeah. I would say that in the last 2 years, my biggest piece of advice, a couple of things actually. I think the number one thing that I would recommend doing is the thing that scares you, right? Like the thing that makes you uncomfortable. If you have an opportunity to do something and it makes you uncomfortable, like in your soul, do it, right? It's so funny because it started with the show, but the show it turned into a whole snowball effect of doing that. And it also made me realize like that's what my mom was doing, right? Like she was putting her finger down on a map and moving wherever her finger landed, like the risk involved in that, not knowing what is about to come and taking that risk anyway and letting that take you wherever it's going to take you. To me, she inspires me. I mean, she passed away in 2013, but she continues to inspire me every day in that way, just being willing to take risks. And I can tell you it started with the show, and then through the show, I started getting asked to do speaking engagements. Again, public speaking, I didn't even like to stand up at the realtor meetings, and we call it pitching a listing, right? You have a new listing, you're telling everybody what's cool about it. Come over to the broker tour, check it out today. You've got to kind of like sell it a little bit. Terrifying to me to stand up in front of a room of people that I totally know and have known for 25 years and tell them about this. But I was invited to be a speaker and I thought, I'm scared and I'm just going to do it. And I did it. And now I'm doing speaking engagements all the time. Right. So it just takes you on a journey. And I remember it's so funny. The first speaking engagement I did, I literally blacked out on stage. I have no idea what
I
I.
know. I've done the same.
Everybody was like, "Oh, you did a great job." I was like, "Oh, thank God," because I don't remember anything I just said.
Same
And
with me.
2 days later, I went and jumped out of a plane. That didn't bother me at all, right? Like I could skydive and it doesn't bother me at all. But getting up on a stage in front of people I don't know, terrifying.
Right? I haven't done anything that big, but even just being in a room of 50 people and talking about something I'm passionate about, which is why I'm always like, okay, maybe I need to be more in this like moderator interview type of person because that doesn't scare me. But if I have to get up and talk about something that I'm passionate about or an experience or something I like, I went through a whole thing and I'm like, I have no idea what I said. And everyone that was so great and so inspiring. And I was like, I don't even know what I said. Hopefully
Yeah.
it sounded like it was good.
You know what I think it is? I think, and this is what's helped me overcome some of that. I think when I make it about me, it's terrifying, right? Because I'm afraid of being judged or criticized or whatever. If I don't make it about me and I make it about others and I lead with service, all of a sudden it stops being terrifying because now I'm able to put the spotlight on someone else, which is what I really love to do anyway. So for me, I think anytime I try to get my ego involved and make it about me, I get really scared. But turning it around and spotlighting someone else or teaching them how to do something or making it more about them and what they're going to get out of it, that sort of solves the problem for me.
Mm-hmm. So good. What's next for you? Like what's on the horizons? What cool things? I know we talked about the LA feature, but like is there anything else cool that you can like tell us that you have in the pipelines?
So that's a great question. I mean, obviously, I hope I sell lots of real estate, right? That's my main goal. I did have someone tell me the other day, she said she listed her home with somebody else. And I said, why did you do that? And she said, well, you're so busy with the TV stuff and everything else. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's the last thing I want people to think, right? Like the whole reason I'm doing all these other things is in service of the real estate. So really, that's my focus. That's my primary job. That's the thing that I love most in the world. So I always want to come back to that, and I don't want to dilute that too much.
Hmm.
But that being said, yes, the TV show has been amazing, and from that, I'm even branching out into coaching now. So that's something I'm actually really excited about. Um, Again, going back to like people with a license that are just getting into real estate and not knowing what to do with that. It's one thing to have your license, it's another thing to sell real estate. And so I'm really starting like a coaching, mentoring program, helping people. I mean, now that I've been doing the TV show, I understand media a lot more and how to leverage media for your business. And so helping people, and coaching them through that kind of thing. So that's kind of what is next for me, I think. And I know it's the right direction because I get so excited about it. You and I talked a little bit about that. And, sometimes I go, there are only enough hours, there's only so many hours in the day, right? Like I can't do everything, but I want to.
Hmm.
So I think what I need to do is just maybe get more assistance.
I just interviewed a lady earlier today and her business in 2 years she went from like doing everything on her own like you and I are doing and now she has like this full team in like literally 2 years because and she said that was like the number one thing is that she told me about a book that we I don't know if you read it. It is called um Who Not How
Who, not how.
by Daniel Sullivan. She says it was life changing. Write that down. I don't know. I'm assuming it's about trying to do it all. But she said once she got a team and was able to like peel off some of those things, like the opportunities and the business grew. So
Yeah. No, I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, right? Like,
yeah.
and it's one of those things that I know I have to do. It's so hard to let go. Why is it so hard to let go, right?
I
And
don't
I
know.
think my standards are so high that I'm just like, if I'm not doing it, it's like no one else can do it. So yeah, I just have to let go of it and really do the same thing that I did with the TV show. Like when I started the TV show, I thought, I'm just going to suck until I don't, right?
Mhm.
Like I'm just going to embrace the fact that I'm going to be terrible at it. And at some point I'll get better, and that's going to be okay. Like it's
Mhm.
okay to just be bad at something. And so maybe I just need to do the same thing with, taking on new hires. Like it's not going to be perfect at first, and I'm going to have to ask for grace from my customers at times. But you're right. I think in the long run, it's one of those things that you just have to take the leap.
Mhm. So good. Is there anything else we didn't talk about? I feel like we definitely chatted on all kinds of things, but is there anything else in your world and your life that would inspire others that we didn't talk about?
Gosh, I think that maybe like if you have a business of your own, embrace storytelling. I feel like storytelling is really something that can make a difference in marketing, rather than trying to sell your product or your service or whatever, talk about things, talk about the stories. I have found now that I've sort of gotten used to doing it that I find stories in everything now. There's a journey in everything. And if you can embrace the journey and document it along the way, which I know you're considering doing. Have you talked about any of that stuff yet?
A little bit. People in my world that are close to me know, but I haven't. We're gonna get there. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
There's a couple more important people this by the time this goes out, it'll be out, but I have a couple family members that I need to tell first, and then I'm like,
Ah,
okay, then I can let it out.
got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Well, I think that, anytime you start a new journey, if you can document that journey along the way, not just for others, but for yourself,
Mhm.
right? Like time goes so quickly. And if you can look back, I mean, sometimes you look back, I look back at my first episodes of the show and I cringe, right? I just go, oh my
I don't
God.
even want to listen to my podcast in
Yeah,
the beginning.
exactly right. But it's that painful growth period, and then you get to see the arc of like, here's where I start, how it started, how it's going, right? Being able to look at that, I think that's super important. And then just know your value. Don't ask for permission to take up space. Like just get out there and start doing things. And I think the biggest thing, I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, I'm realizing that like we have one life,
Mhm.
just one, and we don't get to go back and we have no do-overs. And it doesn't matter if people are criticizing you. It doesn't matter if people are judging you. The people that are judging you are normally sitting on their couch, not doing anything but judging you. And
Mhm.
so if you're out there doing the thing they're judging, you're already winning.
Mm.
So I think that's super important.
That's so good. I got to leave it at that because it's so good. So good. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad we connected. Thank you for telling your story. This is not the end of our friendship and journey. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so thank you for being here.
Thank